Good morning. Welcome to the WEX Wakeup for Wednesday, May 17th. I'm Christy Matino. Our top story this morning, debt ceiling dilemma. White House officials will now be working directly with members of Speaker McCarthy's team in an attempt to reach an agreement before risk of a default in less than 3 weeks. This change in plan comes after President Biden met with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and congressional leaders on Tuesday. It's a step forward, and it puts McConnell, Schumer, and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries on the bench during these negotiations. It's a suggestion that McConnell made to President Biden back in January.
Just finally, as the speakers pointed out, the president's agreed to designate somebody to be the lead, as I recommended to President Trump in 2019 when we faced the same situation. Do you think he wanted to negotiate with Speaker Pelosi? Of course not.
The White House also announced they will be cutting Biden's trip abroad short due to these debt ceiling talks. The president is set to meet with world leaders at the Group of Seven meeting in Japan, but has canceled the remaining leg of the trip to Australia and Papua New Guinea. New this morning, it's no secret that abortion is going to be a hot-button topic in the 2024 presidential race, but it could also be the determining factor for Republican success. Representative Nancy Mace sat down with Washington Examiner reporter Julia Johnson about how the GOP needs to appeal to more moderate voters next election cycle if they want to win over those purple states.
I just spoke with Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina, and she has an idea about what the GOP needs to do to win in 2024.
If you want to win over suburban moms, show compassion. And what I'm trying to do is show a roadmap and show that middle ground. And it really wasn't that long ago that my ideas were mainstream in the Republican Party. Just 2 years ago, pro-life groups embraced a bill that was a 20-week bill with exceptions for rape and incest. But since Roe was overturned, they've moved the goalposts and they're celebrating bans that don't have exceptions. They don't want to talk about birth control. If you talk about birth control, they won't work with you.
According to the South Carolina Republican, the GOP needs to appeal to more moderate and independent voters on issues like abortion and gun safety if they want to win more purple districts like Mace's. I'm Julia Johnson for the Washington Examiner.
And local leaders in D.C. remain locked in a battle with GOP lawmakers over the district's right to govern itself without congressional oversight. Washington Examiner reporter Christine Quayle has a full report from Capitol Hill.
Ahead of a Senate vote to determine whether the federal government will effectively nullify a D.C. policing resolution, district residents gathered at the Capitol in opposition to congressional oversight of D.C. government.
Local activists pointed out D.C. residents elect their own officials to make policy decisions.
Almost 700,000 people live in the nation's capital, and I don't need to say they are worthy and capable of governing.
The Senate ultimately voted yes on the measure, putting President Joe Biden on the hook to make good on his promise.
I worked to get a commitment from President Biden that should the disapproval resolution reach his desk, he will veto it.
The Senate vote marks the second time within months that Congress has taken up a measure relating to policing and crime in the district. Christine Quayle for the Washington Examiner.
And that's the news on the WEX Wake Up. Be sure to follow us online and on social media so you stay in the know of all those headlines trending in politics.